Alright, time for one of my cynically motivated trailer reaction videos. Steam VR, what could this be? It's Half-Life Alyx! How exciting! For all of the lovely children. Alright, oh god, that was a scary alien disembodied hand! That's well spooky. Oh, that is the scariest hand I ever did see. Head crab, do you remember them? Do you remember head crabs from that game? What was that game called? Half-Life, I think it was. That was released about 55 years ago, I think. It was a good game, was Half-Life. Alright, so this looks visually quite impressive, which is weird, because, I mean, look at that, look at those animated faces, all the detailed environments, all of that kind of stuff. It's odd to see because Half-Life 2 was such an old game, and it looked good and still looks pretty decent even today. It is still strange seeing a Half-Life game this detailed, this animated, this moodily lit. It's cool to see. I won't deny that. You will not see me say this game does not look neat. It looks very, very neat, in fact. Oh, look at all the familiar stuff. The walkers, the combine, guns. Oh, head crab zombies, ant lions. It's got everything. It's got the works. Anyone who's like a big Half-Life fan waiting for something, anything, will see this and just be oh, the Gaman! Not the Gaman! Oh, you know that shit's real when the Gaman shows up. Anyway, that's out March 2020. How exciting for everyone. Well, not everyone. Okay, that looked really cool, and it's very exciting to see Half-Life stuff again. I must admit, a lot of people talked this up to me, so maybe I had higher expectations. This has not transformed the way I think about video games, like some people have been implying. Now, I'm someone who's a little bit cynical about VR, and I must admit, when I saw the announcement, I laughed. I wasn't the only one, but I did chuckle quite a lot. Mostly because you wait roughly 55 years for a conclusion to Half-Life 2, a conclusion to the episodes that ended on a cliffhanger so long ago. There's finally a Half-Life announcement, and not only do you not get that conclusion, but it's on the fairly prohibitive VR platform. That's just an incredible move. That is a peak Valve move. But of course, since the trailers come out, some people who were angry about it or disappointed about it have changed their tune, and they're all aboard the hype train, and that's great. That's really good for them. I'm really happy that they're excited about a new Half-Life game. I mean, just saying that is freaky. What a time to be alive. There is a new Half-Life game happening. But I'm probably not going to play it. Now, I said I'm a little bit cynical about VR. To be honest, I don't like it. It's not just a taste thing, but there is a taste element involved. Every time I've tried VR, I've not particularly cared for it. There have been some games I've liked in VR, but the novelty wears off fairly quickly for me, and whenever I've tried it, I've only tried it for a bit and then never felt compelled to pick it back up again, because the hassle to enjoyment ratio just isn't there for me. Personally, it's just not there for me. But on top of that, there are other issues as well. I get motion sickness very easily in VR. Very easily. And that includes some games that have been praised for not inducing motion sickness. Now, it's not universal across the board. There are a few VR games that do not knock me sick, but the point is, it's a crapshoot. I could buy this game, and it could make me very ill. Now, people have talked about the fact that there are different ways that you can move about in Half-Life Alyx. Methods specifically to combat motion sickness, like, you know, teleporting from one place to another. But for my easy-queasy tummy, that is no guarantee that I will not get a headache or feel nauseous. And most people who are, like, discussing this are focusing on the cost of VR. I've seen quite a few takes defending Half-Life Alyx, defending VR in general, a lot of games media pundits making fun of anyone who was disappointed that Half-Life Alyx is VR. They've almost always focused on the cost and not the accessibility issues of VR. To be blunt, some of those takes have been pretty ignorant and privileged. First of all, I've seen people mocking those who worry that they can't afford a VR headset. That can fuck off. Now, the cost of VR headsets have gone down quite a lot. They are not as prohibitively expensive as they used to be, but just because something isn't expensive to you doesn't mean it isn't still expensive to other people. Some have compared buying a VR headset to updating your graphics card to play a brand new game on PC, and I don't think that's a fair comparison. First of all, this is more like buying a VR headset on top of getting a new graphics card. If someone already saved up their money to get a nice PC gaming machine, maybe they do not have the extra spare bit of money to get a VR headset on top of that. I know quite a few people who have a PC already, but cannot just throw extra money out there to get a VR headset to play one game. And again, accessibility is still the main issue here. Buying a new graphics card is not the same as buying a motion-controlled VR headset. I would refer you to a really nice piece written on ablegamers.org by AJ Ryan, which details some of the barriers that certain people have dealing with the motion controls, dealing with having to be in certain positions to play games. The writer even notes that they can play VR just fine, but they need help getting the headset on and off. So no, I don't think using a VR headset is just the same as updating a graphics card. There's been some back and forth as to whether or not the announcement of Half-Life Alyx is comparable to the announcement of Diablo Immortal, that mobile phone Diablo game that a lot of people were angry about. But you know what, as much as I enjoyed the backlash that Activision Blizzard faced for that announcement, I don't really agree with the people who say that the announcement of Half-Life Alyx was way better than that. Because despite Blizzard's rather churlish, dismissive, "what, don't you guys have phones" statement, at least you can say that phones are pretty fucking ubiquitous. It is mass adopted, and VR isn't, and there are way more barriers to entry. Now maybe Half-Life Alyx is what will push VR into mass adoption. I personally don't think it will, but it might. I won't say never on this one, and I'm genuinely excited for those who are excited about this. It is exciting, but there are barriers in place to VR, so anyone who's disappointed by this announcement, I think they've got every right to be. Anyway, what do I know? I'm way more into Left 4 Dead. I ain't got no fucking announcements there.